welcome to this latest episode of Doll Belly Knits. My name is Annabelle and this is my vlog about crocheting and knitting and other fiber related crafts with a highlight of reusing, recycling, and using what you have on hand to make beautiful objects. Other places you can find me on social media include Instagram and Ravelry as Doll Belly, and there's also a group for this vlog on Ravelry. If you look in the group tabs and search for Doll Belly Knits, you'll find me and other viewers in the forums chatting it up. I am in my usual recording place right now, but it is getting darker. Winter is coming, so I'm losing daylight quicker than I normally would, and the sun is popping in and out, so I apologize for any color issues that you may be experiencing. It's not your TV set. It's how it really is. This episode, I am going to run through some of my works in progress. I have some finished objects to show. Of course, I will discuss Christmas knitting and magical memories. Okay, works in progress is going to be pretty short because the kids have been on half-term break, so they have been home. And the majority of my works in progress are Christmas knitting, so I haven't been able to work on them. Additionally, the only other works in progress that I have going on are the massive wedding blanket, which is not a portable project, can't take that with us when we go anywhere. And the other work in progress is the fairy tale scarf that I've just been chinking away at a little bit at a time. So yes, works in progress. I don't really have anything to show you, except for I do have some updates on Christmas knitting, which I will cover later on the show. So we will move right into finished objects. The first finished object I have is another pair of flip-flop socks. I had shown these on last episode because I talked about travel knitting. I have been doing some travel recently. I went to Germany and we also went down south to Birmingham for the Star Trek convention, which I'm going to talk about in Magical Memories. But because of the traveling, I do like to take socks with me on the road. And I just happened to do another pair of these flip-flop socks. Again, these are done on 3.75 millimeter needles. I have to use two sets of 16-inch circulars to do the toe and then the smaller toes and then bring them together. Also, I'm using the Premier brand wool-free sock yarn. Even though I said I don't like the way it feels, and I still kind of don't like the way it feels, I enjoy the socks very much because of the fact that I do wear flip-flops all year long, and then it gives me ease to kick off the flip-flops and put on outdoor shoes before I leave the house. This colorway is called Grapes. Oh, that looks nice. That's about right. Self-striping sock yarn, obviously. Yeah, so I'm really happy with these. And I finished them up on my birthday, so it was happy birthday to me. Popped them on straight away. Yes, so I've worn them. They need to be washed. Can't really think of anything else to say about them other than they are shorty socks, because this is actually leftover yarn from 2 skeins of the Premier brand wool-free sock yarn. I think each skein is 100 grams. I would have to look at that again. But I already did a pair. I think I did a pair in this colorway for my husband for his birthday. So then I had leftover. Each pair of flip-flop socks that I have done now, the 2 pairs that I have done, I've just used leftovers from what was left over from the socks that I made with them. Which means that they're shorty socks, like little, not too short. I guess cuff. I know there's a word for this particular type of sock. Ankle? Yeah, ankle sock. There you go. Which is not my favorite. If I had my druthers, it would be a full calf, but I had started it as an experiment, and considering for the most part I'm just wearing them inside with my flip-flops, that's a done deal. Second finished object that I have to show is actually an object that I just made because I needed it. And this is kind of like the theory behind a lot of my crocheting and knitting and making. Theory is not quite the right word. My drive a lot of the time to crochet and knit something is because it fulfills a need that I have, whether it's a need for a particular object in the house or I need to give somebody a gift. That's a lot of the drive behind my making. So we have this wooden cabinet in our front lobby area. We picked it up at a charity shop. So we didn't pay a lot of money for it, but it's in relatively good condition. I'll be inserting pictures so you'll be able to see it. We are using it to store fabric for the time being because we have quite a bit of fabric. So if the girls want to make anything or do anything, it's readily available for them to just pluck out of the cabinet. But like I said, it's in relatively good condition, and there's no need to allow it to be destroyed if you can help it. Right now, there's nothing sitting, or there wasn't anything sitting on top of it, and it ended up becoming a resting place for keys or other things that you just were trying to drop off out of your hand as you're coming in the house, or even like a station, like, oh, take this upstairs with you when you go. So although there's no set decorative display on top of the cabinet, a lot of things are placed on top of the cabinet and then taken away. So I was foreseeing nicks and chips being put in the wood, over time from the constant use of it. So I thought, hey, it needs some kind of protective cover, some kind of runner. And what better way to use up your stash than to make like a little granny square runner. And that's what I did. So I basically went in Ravelry. I looked for a free pattern. There was this really cute little granny, it's not square. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, little octagons with a flower center. And I just pulled out all my cotton yarn scraps. I do separate when I don't have a lot of organization when it comes to my stash, but I do at least have the organization where I put cotton in one bag and then acrylic in another, and then I have specialty wools in another place. So I grabbed my stash of cotton and I just used what I had. Fortunate for me, I had quite a few things that fit in with an autumnal theme, because it is still autumn, people. We are not rushing Christmas in the Doll Belly household. No. Christmas decorations don't go up till December 1st. Don't come to me with any Christmas carols before then. Yeah. So, I got it right here. And I have to thank my daughters for picking the the pattern in which these little octagons got placed together, because I measured it out and I knew I needed 24, 8 by 3, so 8 long, 3 wide. And for some reason, I chose to do 6 different colors. So I had 4 of each octagon instead of 3. That would have made it a lot easier. So I literally gave all the octagons to the girls and I said, figure it out for mom. Because my brain don't quite work that way when it comes to mathematics. So they put together a lovely pattern for me, and I didn't sew these together. What I did was let me see if we can see. I did a crochet top stitch for this to bring them together. So And then I did, look, Mom, I weaved all the ends in, which probably took longer than actually assembling the octagons. But yeah, so there is just one example of how I like using what I have on hand, in the closet, in my stash, whatever, to fulfill a need that I have around the house. Yeah, does anybody else do that? Does anybody else see something that they need in their house and they're like, oh yes, I can knit it, I can crochet it, I can sew it, I can make that myself. I know we all do that when we go into the store and we see clothing. That's kind of a automatic thing. If you're a knitter, especially if you're a knitter, you see a scarf, you see a sweater, and you're like, oh yeah, I could knit that. But how many times do we think about that when it comes to linen? Things that would cover your table or on top of a china hutch, or even something more not user friendly, but something that would get utilized three-dimensionally. Wow, this is getting crazy. My words are escaping me today. Like I have the tomato bag that I made because I wanted to put the tomatoes and not have them fall into the bottom of the fruit bowl, because then they escape, you don't see them, they end up going moldy before you get a chance to eat them. So I made the little tomato bag. So like that's an object that gets used in a three-dimensional way instead of just something laying flat on a tabletop. But yeah, if anybody else thinks like I think, I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to see what it is that you've made. Pop a comment in the comments box below, or share a link to your Ravelry page with the project so we can all see what it is that you got going on in your house as well. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the show, a lot of my works in progress are actually Christmas knitting. And I haven't made any progress on that because, like I said, the kids have been home. But the main thing that I've been working on for my oldest daughter, put a picture up here. I'm stuck on the island. I have it right here. I didn't put a progress keeper, but honestly don't think I made much progress because, like I said, they've been home and it's hard to knit in secret when the person is sitting next to you on the sofa. But I didn't realize how lonely and desolate it can be on the island. I always see people post, oh, I'm on the island, and I thought, why is this such a big deal? Like, you've already done the bulk of the work. Why is this such a big deal? Now I know why it's such a big deal. Although I still don't understand why it's such a big deal, but it's real. It's real that you kind of get stuck here. And I still got another one, so hopefully when they go back to school on Monday, I will just be able to carve out some time and sit down and just bust through it, because I'm practically done. I just need to finish this up and get off the island. Please, somebody evicts me from the island, please. But yeah, so here we are. Still super happy. I'm really super happy with this yarn choice. I will be even more happy after it's complete and I see it in action, because then I will know for sure, yes, it was a super good choice. I'm also contemplating using some more of this yarn. This is Vanna. It's a Lion brand. It's Vanna. Oh, I'll put the name up here. And it's acrylic, so that'll make it washer dryer friendly, and there's a lot of colors to choose from. So I'm contemplating trying it for myself in one of two sweater choices. I either want to make the, there's a short sleeve jumper that I got the pattern from Pearl and Jane. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I will put it up here. So I've been wanting to make that, so I might give that a go. And then I also have had the pattern and colors worked out for a color work pattern from Amy G. Knit Pearl Spin. I've had her jumper for a while. Put the name up there. I had her pattern was great because it's got a lot of instructions, and then it gives you a coloring page that you can go ahead and you can decide what colors you want. So I gave a coloring page to like the kids, and I was like, figure it out for me, because again, I'm not so awesome at putting those things together. But so I have some colors in mind, and it would be the first time that I do a color work sweater. So I'm not sure I want to invest in wool for something that I haven't done yet. Yeah, so that's kind of like my middle ground, medium, like give it a go and see if I like it, if I can do the technique, if I'm happy with the outcome. And if I am, then I would be more confident in investing in something that's pricier. I would love to have a cashmere sweater, which would be $1 bazillion. But I'm not going to invest in that until I'm confident in my skills in doing the color work, and a little more confident in sweater construction in general. So there's that. Then the other reason I haven't really done any Christmas knitting is because I showed you last time what the other options were for the girls. And in particular, this project, I showed you the wool and that I had the needle and that all I needed to do was ball it up and get started. Okay, so I went to ball it up, and this is the absolute worst hank of wool I've ever had, ever seen, ever come in contact with. I could not get that to wind at all. It was like the yarn was just constantly wrapped around itself over and over and over again. And it quickly went from, looking like this to looking like this. And it still looks like that. I have made some progress on it, but the reality of it is it's still here. This is the majority of it still. I do have this much on one end, and then this much on the other end. Like, I tried so hard, and it became a mess so quick. I've never seen anything like it. So I've probably already spent somewhere near 2 to 4 hours trying to work on this thing. I don't know what to do other than to continue to try to work on it, or completely abandon it, or start cutting it up. So anybody have any suggestions on how to deal with this? I would love to hear them. Somebody was like, I've had plenty of people offer me their winder, and I appreciate it, but this is beyond the winding. Like, we're past that point. So yeah, that's something else that I'm going to have to sort out sooner rather than later. Ooh. I don't even know who, this was an indie dyer. I picked this up like 2 years ago at the Knitting and Stitching Show. It had, the only tag it had on it was the descriptor of the wool, that it's like, 75-25, the usual blend. No idea who I got it from, because if I did, I probably would have something to say to them. Yeah. Nightmare. Nightmare. So that's it for Christmas knitting. Hopefully next time around I will have some more progress to show you, and cross your fingers I will have figured out what to do with this big old mess I got going on right there. Now we come to the part of the show that I like to call Magical Memories. It's where I review a memory that was created either with me and my family or me and my friends, something that we recently did to try and connect. We went to Destination Star Trek. It was a Star Trek convention held in Birmingham, in England, and we took the train from our town down there, and so that's where I did some of the travel knitting and the flip-flop socks. But this was the first time we had ever attended any type of event like this, so it was kind of like, you know, a Comic-Con or some other type of convention. It was interesting and different and certainly worth it. Let's see. First off, it was held at the Birmingham, the National Exhibition Center. That place is huge. So not only was the Star Trek convention going on, apparently there was a motorhome show happening as well. So the place is really, really large. It's a lot bigger than I expected it to be. So although there were a lot of people there, it did not feel overwhelmingly crowded like I thought it was going to. I was concerned about that. I don't necessarily like being that close to people, unless we're, you know, friends and we're dancing and we're in the club and we're having a good time. So that was good. It was a very, very large venue, and it you know, gave the ease of walking. But there were so many Star Trek stars there. It was really, really fun to just see them. Like Captain Kirk literally walked by. We saw Seven of Nine. Jerry Ryan was there. She had like a big wide brim hat on though, because you have to pay extra for everything. Basically, you pay to get in to pay more money once you get in. If you want photos, if you want to, you know, participate in the special talks and things like that. But you know, they were there signing autographs as well. So Seven of Nine, we saw both Doctors Bashir and Dr. Crusher signing autographs at the same time. How does that happen? Quark was there, and they had the entire bar set up from Deep Space Nine, so you could have your picture taken with him. They had, of course, they had the Next Generation bridge, they had the original series bridge, they had the my brain's failing me. The transporter pad, you know, those kinds of things. Captain Janeway was there. I do believe Uhura and Chekhov were there as well, the original, Nichelle Nichols. And yeah, so we saw all those people. Also, Jason Isaacs was there, which my girls, you know, they're like, he looks familiar. And I'm like, yeah, it's Lucius Malfoy. No way! Yes. So they were having a hard time coming to terms with that. But for me, the real fangirl moment was the fact that Commander Fred Hayes from Apollo 13 was there. And he gave a talk about the Apollo 13 mission. And I just, you know, like the one guy in the entire place who actually has been in space was there. So I was definitely into that, loved seeing him talk, thought it was a great honor and a privilege. I did think it was also pretty funny and interesting that he basically said that the movie Apollo 13 was kind of like rubbish. Not in a bad way, but of course, you know, Ron Howard added all this dramatic effect to it, and he said it didn't seem like that to them because they were so well trained and they had trained so much together that to them, this was just another problem that needed to be fixed and worked through. So they didn't necessarily feel the urgency or the gravity of the situation while they were in it as it is portrayed in the movie. Because, you gotta have drama in the movies. So that was really, really exciting to me to be able to see him speak. Additionally, the European Space Agency was there, and they gave talks. They gave talks about different types of galaxies, and they gave talk about like where we are in regards to space exploration, specifically for the purposes of colonizing like the moon and Mars. And yes, I was that mom where I made them put their phones away and pay attention during these talks. So again, like even if you aren't a super huge Star Trek fan, I thought it was worth it to go for those purposes of, seeing real life people and learning science and scientific facts about space and our technology and our capabilities at this point in time. But I did have my eye out for any potential knitting and knitwear. I did see, and I believe it was a machine knit sweater that had the original Spock on it. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it was a sweater that a woman was wearing, and she had it wrapped around her waist, and so she had the Spock displayed like basically on her butt. Like the sweater was around her waist and on her butt. So I wasn't going to take a picture of this lady's butt. But we also saw maybe one or two other people had crocheted like a spider web type poncho to wear over a turtleneck or another type of outfit. Other than that, it was pretty lacking in the knitwear section, and I was kind of disappointed because I thought we might be able to see some pretty interesting things because people definitely dressed up and there was a lot of costumes and a lot of makeup, which super sad. My dress did not make it in the mail before we went, so I just had to wear it for Halloween. But it really did inspire me to make another space-themed object. I have done a couple blankets in the past. I have done a USS Enterprise blanket, and I've also made a Battlestar Galactica blanket. And I made those using the Stitch Maker pattern maker that I had discussed before in previous episodes. It's basically a cross-stitch pattern maker where you can import an image and then fiddle with the image so that you can make whatever pattern it is you want to cross-stitch. I use the pattern, import an image. I found the easiest thing to import is coloring pages because they're blank, they're black and white, pretty bold, just the outline of the image that you're trying to achieve. So I would import that, make the pattern, and every X that would be an X in cross stitch, I just make a single crochet. I would use an I crochet hook or 5.5 millimeter hook and worsted weight or Aran weight yarn. I typically would also use Red Heart for this because it has so many color choices and it's washer and dryer friendly. So with that, I've done, like I said, the Enterprise, and I've done the Battlestar Galactica blanket. And I do, again, I'm a process knitter. I like to see the pattern come alive as you go along. So I've done other things that weren't space themed, but those were my two space themed objects that I did. And I might be having to resurrect that Stitch Maker pattern maker and do something else. Not sure, but that's going to have to wait until after Christmas knitting is done. Yep, here's my little band. Been holding it in my hand. Not showing it to you. Yep. So that's it for me for this episode of Doll Belly Knits. If you are a return viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you're a new viewer, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and tap the little bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Until then, I hope you have some happy knitting. I hope you stay well and healthy, and I hope you get out there and make some magical memories of your own. See you next time. Bye.